Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss with MFSN, the Hub, and I'm here with the Hustler. Hustler, say hello.
What up, everybody? What's going on? Hope you're ready to win your fantasy football leagues. Getting you
This
ready
is
right
like, you know what the coolest thing is that we have a Labor Day weekend, 3-day weekend. It's like it's going to be draft all weekend. I mean, they kind of set it up so we Monday's a holiday. A lot of drafts are going on, and it's like a big draft party Monday. You can lay by the pool, you can draft, you can drink, you can eat, you can everything, Hustler, everything possible.
now. Oh yeah, we used to have our inaugural, or we used to have our yearly draft on Labor Day, but then we all started getting older. Everyone started getting families and having responsibilities on Labor Day. So now we can only do online drafts on Labor Day.
So today's National Cut Day, we call it. Today's when the coach calls you in. You have to bring not your playbook anymore. It's a tablet. I don't know if you know that, Hustler, but you have to bring a tablet in and say, "Here
Right.
you go." And
It's
fantasy
still the
wise,
play. It's still the playbook. It's just on the tablet.
it's a tablet. It's not a playbook anymore. Bring your tablet. It's no longer, you know, we'll talk about Hard Knocks later, but with Hard Knocks, you have to bring your playbook in. Now it's a tablet. So it's National Bring Your Tablet Day. Uh, and you and I have been talking about the draft since June 1st. I mean, I've been talking about NFL football and fantasy football since the beginning, like right after Memorial Day. I talk about it, and there's no big surprises. I mean, everybody's like saying, "Oh, Marlon Mack was cut," so no surprise. I mean, 1 to 10, that's like a 2. I mean, I'm not surprised Marlon Mack was cut, and
We've been
people. Well, Pierce is moving up in the draft now. What's your feeling about Pierce? We talked about Damian Pierce, the rookie. I mean, do you think he moves up now, or do you think he just stays the same? Does Pierce move up, or does he stay the same, Hustler?
I mean, he has to
Hustler.
move up now. You got rid of one of the pieces that was in front of him.
But you and I both knew that Mac was not going to get much playing
It seems
time.
like he's going to be the
mean,
guy. I don't see them. No,
so what do you?
I figured that he would be the start, and for a couple games he would be good.
So you'll draft Pierce, but you're not going to draft him in the 3rd round. You'll draft him 5th or 6th round, correct?
I'm probably not going to draft him now because I'm sure he's going to go higher than I want to.
Yeah, I agree. And you don't win leagues like drafting like guys in the 1st and 2nd and 3rd. You win leagues like last year. I won my league because I took Cup in the 11th round. I took Cooper Cup in the 11th round, and I took Chase like in the 8th or 9th round. So that's where you win your league is your late draft picks. We'll talk about some late picks that you and I like later, but you're not going to win your league like 1st and 2nd round. It's all the same people. I mean, everybody's drafting the same top 20 guys in the same in this league. So again, as I preface it, it's very important that during a draft you stick around for the whole draft. You don't just put it on auto draft after the 6th or 7th round. You're there for the whole draft, right, Hustler? Right, Hustler. Let's talk about Jimmy G. I think you froze on me, Hustler. Hustler is in Riverside.
Not going to just drop.
Hustler's in Riverside. His connection's horrible, but I can read Hustler's mind because I'm Ross the Boss, and I can read Hustler's mind anywhere in the world. Hustler agrees with me like he always. No, he doesn't always agree with me. Just so everybody knows. Jimmy Garoppolo was signed, not cut, not traded. He was signed with a new contract as the highest backup quarterback in the league. What do you think about that?
I think they don't trust Trey Lance. I really think they don't. I mean, it's not just insurance. Now it's going to be a short leash on Trey Lance if he really doesn't live up to expectations because they're one game away from a Super Bowl. If they look like the train's off the track, he's getting the boot. He's sitting behind Jimmy.
He's sitting behind, and it's actually a great move by the Niners because now they don't. If they cut him, they would have their salary cap would have been ruined, and also they have a great backup. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to say the word injury. I hate bringing that word up. It's horrible, but in NFL it's very common. especially for a quarterback who likes to run like Trey Lance. It's great insurance. It's a very smart move on everybody's part. I don't think Jimmy G feels so welcome in San Francisco. If I was him, I wouldn't be like really that cordial to the owners or the GM. I would be kind of like, hey, what's going on? But, you and I know it's a business. We get it. But, Jimmy Garoppolo, if you're in one of these super flex leagues, it's not a bad pickup. I'd rather have him. Who would rather have on as your quarterback as a backup? Jimmy Garoppolo or Geno Smith?
Neither, but I guess Jimmy.
I'm saying in a super flex league where there's not many quarterbacks left in a draft, I would take Jimmy. I would also take Pickett too. I would take Pickett before Geno Smith. Geno Smith's horrible. I mean, Seattle's going to be a bad team. They're not going to be good, Hustler. And you and I both know this. They're not going. They'll be lucky to win 5 games. Lucky. I mean, it's going to be a horrible team. As much as I love their running game and stuff, and they love to run the ball, they're not going to be a good team. They're going to lose a lot of games. Let's talk about. I mean, this is again only happens in Washington. Brian, their top draft pick, the running back from Alabama, Brian Robinson, gets shot on a possible carjacking. They shot his leg and his ass. His gluten, his ass. Yeah. Two wounds. I don't know what the timetable. I don't know when he's coming back. I don't know. Antonio Gibson, of course, you and I both feel he was down in ADP last week. Now he's back up. I mean, what's your take on him? And do you draft him?
I mean, I never thought that he was just going to completely go away, but he's probably someone who I'm still avoiding. All things considered, I mean, it's not looking good over there. Their offense really hasn't been that good over the last couple of years. They've been okay, but
so I don't want to get him out of high. Stay away. You just stay away from any player on the Washington Commanders team. The Hustler does not draft.
I'm really not trying to. I mean, there may be some times that I feel like I'm forced to. Maybe if Gibson falls to double-digit rounds where he's literally a bench player for me to start the season, but outside of that, I don't know. I don't want to take any chances.
All right, it's a smart move. Let's talk. Who had a great preseason, and we'll talk about people who's really like used preseason to move up in ADP. Is Justin Fields. Justin Fields had like 3 touchdown passes. He was like 14 for 16, 100-something yards. I mean, he looked unbelievable. I mean, he looked like the first-round draft pick out of Ohio State that the Bears wanted. And this guy, I mean, does he move up at all on your ADP? Are you drafting? I'm talking about super flex league. I know you're not going to draft him in a single quarterback league, but in a super flex league, is Justin Fields on your radar at all?
So he's someone who I'm still kind of avoiding just because the Bears offense just seems like it's going to be real bad. But man, he looked real good in that preseason game. I know he was playing against backups, but he was looking real good, getting out of the pocket well. We know he's going to run, so that's another thing. Like if your super flex league is 4 points per TD or whatever, a guy like Justin Fields is going to have a little bit of an advantage as well.
So he's on your radar, but you're not going to rush. You're not going to draft him that early, obviously.
I mean, and even him being on my radar is like maybe me having him ranked as the 23rd quarterback or the 24th quarterback overall.
Yeah, I mean, I would start him if one of my guys had a bye week. Obviously, I would start Fields and feel okay with it. But I wouldn't want to have him play him every week. Of course, you and I would never want to do that. Let's talk about one of our favorite shows on TV is Hard Knocks. The Colts they went to the Colts practice facility last week, and there was a lot of fighting. Then they played them in preseason. Did you watch the show? What's your thoughts on the season?
I didn't get a chance to watch the most recent episode 3. I've seen the first 2. And I mean, I like what I see. I mean, the coaches seem like they're really doing well out there. I mean, we talked about that last week, how they're highlighting them a lot. I don't know if this, if I want any of the Lions players, though. I mean, maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown,
I like St. Brown, Swift. I'm like you, Swift. We talked about this. He got 40% of his fantasy points in 2 games last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I think Jamal Williams is going to take some time from him also.
Yep.
I'm not sold on Swift. I think he's a third or fourth round pick, not a second round guy. But a lot of people
he's going in the first in a lot of places. That's probably why I won't have him.
Yeah, I'm the same way as you. So you and I agree. And plus Detroit, it's just I don't know what it is. I think they're just hexed. I mean, I just don't like taking anybody from the Lions. It's hard for me to even grasp watching the Lions. They have such bad luck, and they've lost so many games in the last minute last season, and now same thing's going to happen this year. I like their coach though. Dave Campbell's fun to watch and listen to. He's the star of the show this season.
Definitely.
There's only 2 episodes left. It airs tonight, and then it's the season. Then the finale's next week. I was kind of disappointed, but I told you mid-season. HBO is going to be doing the Arizona Cardinals will be the team they'll be previewing, and the NFL did something smart because they know Hopkins is coming back from suspension, and they know Murray had a whole breakdown last season in the second half, so they picked the right team to do that with. I will watch that. I promise you, I'll watch that, and it should be enjoyable because again, Murray and Hopkins, all those guys. They're very long on words. They like to talk. Jared Goff does not like to talk. But it should be fun. I'm excited about it. So our subject today is this. We want to talk about players that you and I talked about in June and July and didn't have much hope for them or they were way down our list. But watching preseason and watching, especially today, everything that's going on in the NFL with cuts, and who rose up in your stock in the past month that you feel that is worth talking about, that you've been drafting a little more just because what you've seen during the preseason? I'll start. My number one guy is Christian Kirk of Jacksonville. They gave him a huge contract. I wasn't sold on this guy. I really wasn't when they signed him. I thought it was way too much money. Yeah. I know he went to Texas A&M. I know he played for the Cardinals the past few seasons. He's a good third or fourth receiver, but you know what? Trevor Lawrence likes this guy. They're good friends, and he's been throwing the ball to him a lot. Deep threat. And I feel you can get this guy in the 10th, 11th, 12th round right now. What's your thoughts on Christian Kirk?
I like him because the guy who I was going to say is Trevor Lawrence, and just seeing him play. We saw probably the worst version of him ever last year, but everything was just bad, everything. And now fresh start, new weapons, got him weapons, even if they're, B grade weapons, like Christian Kirk and Marvin Jones Jr. Those guys are going to be decent. They went out and they got him a pass catching tight end too. Can't block worth a shit, but who cares? Send Evan Ingram out there, make him run some routes, and then they got Travis Etienne back, who's a, really awesome pass catching running back. And so I really all the guys I mentioned are guys that Travis Etienne, if I can get him a little bit later, I might get him. Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones Jr. They're like free in these drafts. You're getting them 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th round. Like they could be your last pick. They might even go undrafted in some of these drafts. And then
Marvin Jones, he's being undrafted. A lot of leagues are not drafting him. I think Kirk's going to be the number one receiver in Jacksonville. And to get him in the 12th or 13th round, like you're saying, is a bargain. Somebody else who's moved up, I had him way down just because we're waiting for the suspension, but it's not happening, is Alvin Kamara. Remember, I had him in the second or even third round in some leagues. But now he's moved up. He's going over. I have him like middle second round now. Even he's going first. He's going in some leagues like 14, 12 team leagues. He's going in the first round. What's your thought on Alvin Kamara? And obviously, I don't think he's being suspended this season. We have to wait till next year. Do you think it's worth taking a chance on him?
I'm avoiding it. If you guys remember a couple years ago when Zeke was kind of going through his issues and all that, there was a big appeal, and then he ended up getting suspended for the weeks leading up to the playoffs and then through the playoffs. It really sucked. And maybe I'm just jaded, from a situation like that. Kamara's court case is at the end of September, early October, one of the two, but it got pushed out 2 months ago, a month ago. So I just don't like the timetable. It probably will get pushed out, but if it doesn't get pushed out, everyone who drafts him is going to be real pissed if he ends up getting suspended for the second half of the season. It's going to suck.
Yeah, and Roger Goodell, as we know, he's not like a liberal guy with these type of things. He goes for he's a cutthroat guy. I mean, he's a lawyer, and he doesn't put up with any of this stuff. I mean, he took the
And what
job.
about the video? We haven't seen the video. Like you're telling me,
is there
Vegas,
video of this?
There's got to be. It's in Vegas. Like the eye in the sky is everywhere.
I know he punched out another guy. There has to be a video. You're right. I want to see the video too, Hustler. You know, they had the video of Ray Rice. Remember that? Remember Ray Rice with the girl? You know, they have to have a video of him hitting this guy at a nightclub. I'm sure it was over something stupid. Hustler, you're frozen or you're doing a statue impression. You look unbelievable. Somebody else that I like that moved up a lot during the preseason just because he talked for a second, then I lost you, is Dalton Schultz.
I think I'm back.
You're back. Dalton Schultz of the Dallas Cowboys, the tight end. What do you think? I mean, I have Dalton Schultz as the number 4 tight end right now, you know, behind Pitts and behind Andrews and, of course, behind Kelsey. I mean, do you think Schultz is going to have a big season? I think he can surpass Andrews in points. That's my opinion. But do you like
I have
Schultz
him as number 3, so
I mean, I know you hate the Cowboys. So Dalton Schultz, somebody else that's moved up tremendously in the past 2 weeks. I mean, this guy is the clear number 1 running back in Miami. He played for the Arizona Cardinals last year. Is Chase Edmonds. Where are you drafting Chase Edmonds, Hustler? Well, Hustler, you're frozen. I'll speak for you. I know he's moved up in a lot of drafts. He's going either 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th
I have
round.
him as
Number what? You said I have a number. Then I lost you.
Sorry, internet connection. It's going in and out.
He's in Riverside, folks. So the internet connection in Riverside, California is horrible. Chase Edmonds, where do you got him?
It's really bad over here.
I'm a hustler, baby. Hustler. Well, Chase Edmonds, if you're drafting this weekend, running back number 2, I would imagine. He catches the ball. He runs the ball. They waived Sony Michel, so he's gone. Mostert, I think, will be the 2 running back in Miami. Gaskin should be up. Gaskin will probably get some carries, but Chase Edmonds, I like him a lot. Somebody else that I love that has been moving up in Tennessee is Trayvon Burks. Trayvon Burks. Do you like Burks at all? Now he's gone. Trayvon Burks, I like, receiver out of Tennessee. He's been showing up. Robert Woods has not been looking good. He's still kind of hurt. They lost A.J. Brown. I think Burks can fill the spot perfectly. If you can draft him late, do it. You know, Damian Pierce, we talked about him for Houston. He's the for sure number 1 running back in Houston right now. Pierce, don't draft him early. Don't be an idiot and draft him in the 3rd round. Don't do that. Let somebody else do it. If you get him in 5th or 6th round, I think it's a good deal, but don't draft him in the 3rd round. Bustler and I, people will be tricked. It's a huge trick. People will overvalue him because they think he's the green. You know, they always think the young rookie is always a great player. It doesn't work that way. Elijah Mitchell had some good news this week. Actually, no one really shined as the 2nd string or 3rd string running back in San Francisco. So, you know, Mitchell really didn't play much in the preseason, which didn't matter. He had a great season last season. So I think Elijah Mitchell, they were a little worried about him maybe getting less carries. He's going to be carrying that load in San Francisco. Again, he's like a borderline running back 1, 2. Draft him if you can. Probably a 4th round guy, I would say, Hustler. But I like him a lot. Somebody else who I like that never gets any respect, and he can. I bet he has either more or around the same touchdowns as Justin Jefferson as Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen loves catching touchdowns, and Justin Jefferson does not catch a lot of touchdowns. Much as I want to say, he's a great receiver. He just doesn't catch a lot of touchdowns. Adam, I think it's a great steal. I think you can get him in the 8th and 9th round. Hustler and I both like him a lot. So if you need a receiver late or not even late, probably middle rounds, you can't go wrong with Adam Thielen. I mean, he's a third down receiver. I like him better than Hunter Renfrow. I think Hunter Renfrow is way overrated. He played well last season, but he's not going to do the same this season with Dante Adams there. There's no way. So I don't like Hunter Renfrow. I can't stand. I've not been drafting him in any of my leagues. Adam Thielen, I like a lot. Hustler.
Yeah.
Frozen again. Unbelievable. Delphin Singletary, the running back in Buffalo. Now they have a little clog. They have Cook and they have Moss. They have Singletary. But Singletary's stock has gone up. I feel like he's the number one running back there. He catches the ball out of the backfield. I feel he'll get his share of handoffs. I don't think he gets any respect fantasy-wise. I feel he can be a good third down guy to have in the backfield. I feel he'll get some touchdowns. Singletary, he's a he's a running back 3, so don't go crazy on him. But if late rounds, if he's available, I wouldn't feel bad having him as a backup. Somebody else that I love, we talked about earlier, is Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields will have a good year. I think to have not as your starting quarterback, but if you're in a super flex league, not a bad guy to pick up, especially for bye weeks. But again, he can be somebody that really shines this year. He's in an offense where it's all going to be about him running and passing, and he loves to throw deep. This guy loves the deep ball. I mean, that's all he does is throw deep. And what Mooney doesn't understand is he's going to be double teamed. Last year, he wasn't double teamed because of Allen Robinson. This year, he's the man in Chicago. So he'll be double teamed a lot. He's not going to be open like last year. But Chicago has some pretty good young receivers. So I think Fields should have a good day. Another guy I like that went up a lot during the preseason is Joshua Kelly. He's the backup in LA. I almost said San Diego for the Chargers. He's behind Eckler. I think Kelly's going to get some handoffs during the season. I hate to say it, Eckler's not going to be healthy for every game. He's going to be hurt. And Spiller's going to get some handoffs, the rookie from A&M. But I think Kelly's going to be their man when it comes to second string backing up Eckler. Again, I don't see Eckler being healthy the whole season. He'll get banged up. He'll get hurt. He'll miss a few games, and that's where Joshua Kelly comes in. So late rounds, if you want a guy that's going to play and get maybe possibly even play with even Eckler in there, Joshua Kelly is a really good pickup. And I don't know I have no idea where Hustler is. Hustler, where are you? So those are my guys that really shine during preseason that I feel moved up ADP wise, average draft position, if you know what that means. But let me know who you like. You can type it in and I can read it and I can tell you if you're right or wrong. As we discussed before, there were some notable people that were cut. Preston Williams, Sony Michel, both from the Dolphins. O.J. Howard was cut from Buffalo, which isn't surprising. None of these people are surprising. It's like I'm shocked. These people, they're not going to affect too much fantasy-wise. But, again, like Keenan Drake might sign with Baltimore, which is interesting because people have been drafting him. We'll see what happens with Keenan Drake, but I don't recommend you draft Keenan Drake. I don't think it's a great move. Cooper Rush was cut by the Cowboys, and the reason I brought that up is the only quarterback they have on that team is Dak Prescott. They don't have a backup, which I never heard before ever in my life in football. There's no second string quarterback. They cut him. I'm sure he's on the practice squad, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if you get hurt, if Prescott gets hurt during the game and they don't have a second string quarterback, I guess Jerry Jones will be coming in. I'm not quite sure what they do. I have no idea. So I never heard of it. Maybe they'll sign somebody who gets cut. We'll see what happens. But Josh Rosen was cut. Remember him? UCLA product, Southern California High School. I think John Bosco. He was cut by Cleveland, which is Josh Gordon, tremendous fantasy player. I like him a lot. But Josh Gordon was cut, Mr. Marijuana, by Kansas City, which makes me, biggest questions I have is J.K. Dobbins. J.K. is not 100%. He's very, very, very questionable about starting the season. Baltimore run game scares me. They're looking at Drake right now, as I mentioned. I just don't feel he'll be like getting the big load in Baltimore. Plus, as we know, the quarterback in Baltimore loves to run the ball. So not a huge fan. Singletary, we talked about. I think he moved up a lot in the ratings. But again, they have Moss as a backup, and they got the rookie Cook. But I think Singletary will get some handoffs, and I think he'll be fine. Again, he's not a number one running back. He's somebody you take late. And then the other one, I can't read that other name. The guy from it's the running back from New Orleans, from Carolina. I think people are taking him second in the draft, but I see CH, what's it, MCH or whatever you want to call it, McCaffrey. McCaffrey scares me, but again, it's worth the risk. I mean, he had the biggest fantasy ever season 3-4. I think it was like 4 years ago. Like his numbers were the biggest of any fantasy player in history, but he's been hurt like every year since. So it's a risk, but it's worth the risk. People are taking him second in drafts. I recommend it in a few. If you're in a few leagues, you can take him in 1 or 2 leagues, but don't take him in all your leagues. Tend to spread it around. But again, I recommend that. There he is.
What up? Let's see if this works.
So Christian McCaffrey, what's your thoughts on Christian McCaffrey? I was kind of like on the fence. Like, I just don't know if I would spend my second pick in the draft on Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, you're gonna have to spend your first pick to get him, but it's a late first round pick for me, or probably nothing at all. I just get nervous on him. I'd rather have a guy like Justin Jefferson pay up for Justin.
I mean, Justin Jefferson. I like Jamar Chase. I like Coop. I've been going more receiver heavy this season with the draft. What have you been doing?
Yeah, I've been going more wide receiver heavy than running back heavy.
I mean, I like Derrick Henry. I think he'll bounce back after the injury, but again, he's 29 years old. I'm not going to put too much stock in him at all. And I do like those top 3 receivers that we talk about every show, Coop and Chase and Jefferson. I think any 3 of those guys you can't go wrong with.
Yeah.
And then what Devin Singletary, what's your thoughts on him?
I mean, I like him. He's someone who I've been picking a lot because you could get him so late, because I think he's going to be the guy for most of the season. I don't think that Cook is going to come in and just steal all his work.
So I've been stalling. So the past couple weeks have been drafting a lot, best ball, regular drafting. Who are some of the late round picks that you've been taking, like recently, that we can talk about?
I mean, Singletary's one of them. We talked about Christian Kirk and Marvin Jones Jr. Isaiah Pacheco, I mean, that's a guy who I've been drafting kind of late a bunch just because we have no idea what the KC backfield
I hate that
really
running game
be like.
there. I hate running backs in Kansas City.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on, something I've been drafting? I just have a feeling I'll have a good season is Nico Collins of Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
these are deep leagues. I'm talking
sure.
about huge leagues with the big rosters and all that. So Nico Collins is somebody, I know you don't hate this guy, is Kenny Galladay. I just feel he's the number one receiver in New York, and I feel he'll have an okay season. I know you don't like him, but what are your thoughts?
No,
Galladay.
I'm avoiding him with the 10-foot pole. Just not touching him at all.
Some of these that drop, this guy's been dropping him like a rock.
And Nigel's asking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm not touching Clyde at all either. I'd rather just get Pacheco late.
I'm the same way. I'll take Pacheco. And another one I want to ask,
because everyone thinks that's going to be someone else and not him getting the majority of the work.
Marquez Valdez-Scanlon of Kansas City. What's your thoughts on him this season?
So I haven't really been getting him too much late. I mean, it's going to be a lot of dart throws. I guess I like Mecole Hardman better than MVS, so I'd rather get Mecole than MVS.
Mecole Hardman scares me. I'm staying away from him.
Yes.
Somebody that's coming back for the first game, he's going to be ready, and he's going to be the number 2 receiver in Dallas is Michael Gallup, and no one's drafting him. Are you taking him in any of your leagues, or just staying away?
Rather just go for Jalen Tolbert if I'm back.
Jalen Tolbert, I like him. I like Tolbert too. Somebody for late picks. Some other people I like. Kirk Cousins is going very late ADP wise. I mean, this guy for a big part of the season, he was the number 1 quarterback. I can by fantasy point wise for a while. I mean, Kirk Cousins. If you can get him late as your backup, or for some reason, if you're just waiting on a quarterback to take late, he's not a bad one to take late. I think he'll have a big season. What are your thoughts on Kirk?
Yeah, I mean, super flex league, I like him. I'm targeting him a bunch in these leagues, in super flex leagues.
I agree. And then, I've been drafting late, like in the first last pick in the draft. I mean, this is last pick. I'll take Gainwell of Philadelphia as just to throw in there, because I don't trust the running game at all in Philadelphia, because all those backs are just, it's like a crapshoot who gets to play every week. But I feel Gainwell is trending to get a lot of handoffs this year. What's your thoughts on him?
I think so too. I'd rather have Gainwell versus Miles Sanders.
I agree 1,000% with you. And then the last one that's really dropped off the face of the earth because of the surgence of George Pickens is Chase Claypool. And Claypool, I mean, he had some monster games last year. Remember, he had like 2 touchdowns in one game, and he had monster games. What would you draft Claypool? Are you just staying away, or is it somebody you taken late in the draft? What do you do with him? You just stay away from Clay.
I'm just really staying away from him. I mean, I think everyone's kind of chasing his games from 2 years ago, and I mean, I'm not a fan.
Is there anybody else like in the late rounds? Because this is where fantasy football is won and lost. Is who you take in the last 3 rounds. I feel people don't really take chances. They just kind of phone it in, and I think that's the wrong way to go.
I mean, it just depends on the size league that you're in. I mean, I'm always trying to. I mean, Melvin Gordon. I mean, that's someone I'm trying to get late because he's going to have his own value. He's not just a handcuff.
I agree, and we talked about handcuffs. You can watch the handcuff segments from 2 weeks ago online. I don't want to talk about handcuffs right now, but I mean, those are basically the guys that I like in late rounds. I mean, it's kind of sad, but I mean, it just, you can go the handcuff way in the last 3 picks, so you can take a chance and go for some of these guys that don't get any press, that are like just on the verge of stardom. You don't know. I mean, you just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's what makes fantasy football so much fun is you have to go for it. And it's trying to figure out who's the next Cooper Kupp, who's the next Jamar Chase, who's the next James Conner, who's gonna fill these shoes of these guys and have big seasons. And we try to tell you guys and help you guys, but it's not the people that were cut today. We know that, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not them. But you know what? I've talked enough. I lost my voice actually, and we will talk to everybody next week. I'm Ross the Boss. Enjoy the weekend. It's going to be long, a lot of drafting. If you have questions, you can always email us and let us know if you have any major questions. And myself and
I'm
the
Hustler with the back
are drafting against each other on Thursday night, which I'm excited for. And Hustler, I'll see you Thursday at the draft.
All right, sounds good.
And next time, better internet connection.